Hey guys, welcome to the Field of 68 YouTube channel. If you like what you see here, hit that subscribe button and you'll get more college basketball content just like this. Conversation about number 4 Houston going on the road and beating number 21 BYU. The final score there was 75-68. It looked for a little while like Houston was going to run away with this thing, but BYU made a big run down the stretch. They were able to get it tied with about a minute left, but Houston made some free throws and found a way to pull away, you'll be shocked, some stops on the defensive end of the floor. Chris, it feels like Houston is just that team this year that's going to consistently fly under the radar. And I don't know if that's because they didn't really beat anybody in non-conference, if that's just because there is nothing really sexy or flashy about this Houston team. But if they can go on the road to teams like BYU, to teams that are as high in the metrics as BYU is, and control a game from the tip, that feels like something that's notable, especially when you get a guy like LJ Cry, who struggled a little bit in Big 12 play to get it going. What do you make of Houston? What do you make of the Cougars? What do you make of Kelvin Sampson's program?
I mean, their transition to the Big 12 hasn't been very tough, very difficult for them. I mean, they go on the road back-to-back games. They lose at Iowa State in a one-possession game. They lose at TCU in a one-point game. Other than that, they haven't lost. I love Houston. They got junkyard dogs. They play three-guard lineups. Manuel Sharp didn't play as well tonight normally does, but LJ Cryer, Jamal Shed, those guys really know how to control the game, get in the lane, and hit shots. And you know this, whether it's this year, whether it's last year, whether it's the last 4 or 5 years, Houston defends their tails off. And, BYU, 68 points is about as low as you're going to see when you watch a BYU team play. Houston just has a bunch of junkyard dogs. I would not be surprised if they're not a Final Four team once again. I just love everything about their DNA, the identity that Kelvin Sampson has formed really since he took over the Houston Cougars. They're legit in my mind. They're not scared of any moment of any team. They're the real deal. And the transition they've made to the Big 12 has been seamless.
John?
Yeah, they haven't let anyone score over 70 points on them, which is, super impressive. To have that kind of defensive focus is pretty impressive. And like at the Iowa State game I watched, they could have won that game, and even TCU on the road, tough environments. They're here to stay, as far as that discussion, being one of the top teams in the country. And when you got two guards that can control the game and you defend at the level that they defend, you're going to be in every single game. And if I had to take Houston at the end of games against anybody they play coming on the schedule, I'm taking them in 1 or 2 possession games. So I'm excited to see them at Texas. That's my game that I want to see what happens, because Texas is also trending up. But for the most part, man, Houston is making a seamless transition to the Big 12. Not much has changed. They've lost 2 games, true road games. That's only kind of blips on their resume. They're definitely like a Final Four team for sure, number 1 seed if they keep this pace.
So I agree with everything you guys just said. And I say this in the context of them being a top 5 team in the sport and one of the top probably 3 programs over the course of the last 6 or 7 years. I'm a little bit worried about teams where their offense is, when everything breaks down, just throw it up at the basket and we'll go try to get it, right? I'm a little bit worried when you are a team that kind of relies a little bit on turnovers, getting stuff in transition. It just feels like at some point, great offense is going to beat great defense. And I don't know, Chris, if I would call Houston necessarily a great offensive team, but I feel like that's also just me kind of nitpicking a little bit what this team and this program can be.
Listen, I think that, you as a program, you as a coach have to figure out what is your identity going to be. You can't be the jack of all trades. You can't be a team that's a lockdown team in the half court defensively. You can't be and then also be a team that plays up tempo. And then you're also a team that really executes in the half court. Kelvin Sampson's teams, they defend you, and they are junkyard dogs on both ends of the floor on the glass. And I also feel like they have some guys that can get their own. Now that may not manifest itself into you saying it's a high octane, powerful type offense, But they got some guys that, like John said, one possession game, somebody he can get his shot off. So can LJ Cryer. So can Emmanuel Sharp, for that matter. He's only a sophomore. So I just think that they're going to give themselves a chance. I'm not saying that they're going to win it all. I'm not going to say they're a shoo-in for the Final Four by any means. I just think no matter who they play, they're going to figure out, because of their identity and who they've been, who they are this year, to keep it a one-possession game. They're going to be in the game, and they're going to give themselves a chance to win because their identity is defend your ass and rebound the ball on both ends of the floor. And they may play a Connecticut team, a team that can match their physicality on the glass. It's going to happen, but they're not going to back down to anybody they play. They're always going to, in my opinion, give themselves a chance to win.
Yeah, I'm saying all this, John, in the last 4 NCAA tournaments we've had, Houston's gone to the Sweet 16, to the Final Four, to the Elite 8, and to the Sweet 16. Maybe I'm just being a hater. Is that what the kids call it these days? I might just be being a hater.
Well, I think being in the Big 12 is going to, instill confidence and teach them how to beat teams in different ways. You got to think, in the conference they were last year, they just would hold teams to 40 points and win by 30. So there was no resistance. There was no challenge. There was no losing 2 games back-to-back on the road and having to come back and win a game against a good team. So I think all this is going to help them in the tournament and just be like, hey, look, all right, we've been here before. We've seen this. We've been down by 1 at TCU with 2 possessions left. This is the first time we've seen this in the Sweet 16 in 2 months.
Thank you for watching the Field of 68. If you've enjoyed what you've seen here, hit that like button, share this link with your friends, or check out the description for some other places that you can consume Field of 68 content.